Hey guys, it is Christine. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another video. If you're new, it is great to have you here. I would love it if you take the opportunity to subscribe. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 and I like to share homeschool content here on this channel, things that will encourage mothers and just provide helpful information, hopefully. So that sounds like you. Hit the subscribe button and you will be notified when I get a new video up. Today, I'm going to be chatting to you about preparing to homeschool, how to start homeschooling, that kind of thing. I do have a blog post that goes along with this, which I will try and remember to link in the description below. But I'm just going to chat a little bit about things to consider when you are starting homeschooling. So, as some of you may know, we started homeschooling last year. My son was 4.5 years old. I myself was homeschooled for a good chunk of my education, and I love it. I am very pro homeschooling, and I'm excited to be doing this with my son. We're in kindergarten now, and he's doing really, really well, and I'm just loving it. But some things that really helped me when I started preparing to homeschool were just knowing some of the points that I'm going to talk about. So I didn't really know what I was doing. Like, homeschooling has changed so much from when my mother was homeschooling me and my siblings to now. We have social media, we have the internet. I mean, we had the internet back then, but it was like nothing like what it is now. And so there were a lot more resources ready and available for me to look at, which was a huge blessing. But it was also kind of overwhelming. So I'm going to try to break it down to you, the things that I thought about, the things that you need to know, and hopefully it'll be helpful. So the first thing is to know what kind of style of homeschooling you want. There are, I think, 5 different styles that are typically spoken about in homeschooling circles. Charlotte Mason, classical, traditional. I'm not going to list them all because I can't remember them all. I think I've linked to them in the blog post that I would have linked below. But basically, there's a few different homeschooling styles that people typically fit into. You don't have to fit into those homeschooling styles. And I'll say I don't fit into any one style. Traditional homeschoolers tend to just do school at home. Just like you would in a public school, you just do that kind of school at home. Charlotte Mason homeschoolers are very different. And then there's unschooling, which is basically child-led learning, where you don't necessarily have workbooks. It's not that you don't, but you don't necessarily have to. And you just follow the interests of your child and work on that. So there's several different styles of homeschooling. If you Google it, you'll be able to read about them and kind of have an understanding of where you might fit into those styles. I am a mixture. Like, I'm definitely just eclectic. I like to pick from different things and do different things. And that leads me on to my next point. Things are going to change. How you start homeschooling is very likely not how you're going to end up homeschooling, because you change as you learn and you find different things that you want to do with your child. I mean, there's curriculum, like I started out with a curriculum at the beginning of the year, and we've added things to it and taken things out, and that's okay. And that's something that you need to just be open to, that things are going to change, that you don't have to do something that everyone else is doing. You can do what you want with your child, but just be open to that. It's okay. You're not failing if you change. It's actually a good thing because you're listening to your family and the needs of your child. It's great. So realize that 1, there are homeschooling styles. 2, you don't have to fall into any of them. And 3, that you can change things up however you would like. The next thing I would recommend is just doing your research. Homeschooling regulations differ depending on where you live. I'm in New Zealand. We have, thankfully, a lot of freedom with homeschooling over here. In some states in the US, I think you're not even allowed to homeschool. I know in some countries in Europe it's illegal. There are other places where you have to keep track of your records. There's some places where you have to do testing every year to make sure your kids are at a certain level. So just do your research, find a local homeschool group, and talk to another homeschool mom who's been doing it for a while so that you can really understand what you need to know and that you're just checking off all the boxes before you get going. This can also affect your curriculum choices. Here I can pick and choose whatever I want to use basically for curriculum, but in some places you might have to be a little bit more careful with what you're using and just have a really good record keeping system. There are lots of videos out there on YouTube and blog posts out there in the blogosphere about how to keep records, great systems for that. So use Google. It is your best friend. Use YouTube. It's also your best friend. That is how I learned so much. Research curriculum. There is so much curriculum out there now. It is incredible. And it's just, there are so many reviews that you can watch. You can watch people actually using the curriculum in their homeschool life. I mean, it's great. I've got Homeschool With Me videos here as well, which you can check out. Obviously, I'm just dealing with like the younger levels at the moment, but you are more than welcome to go and watch those. Do your research. You don't have to use a specific curriculum just because someone else is using it. Find what you think is going to work for your child, and don't be afraid to change it up. If something is not working, stop. Find something else. There are ways to make it work. You don't have to have all of your children using the same thing, for instance. You can find different things for different kids. Just be open, be flexible, be willing to change. Another thing I would recommend is finding a homeschool community. I have several friends who homeschool, so we're not part of a co-op or anything at this stage. But if you can find people who homeschool, that is going to be of great help too. Just encouragement. You'll be able to bounce ideas off of people, ask questions. And if you don't have that in a physical location, then go online. There's loads of homeschool mamas online. There's homeschool blogs, there's homeschool YouTube channels. Find them, reach out, chat with people. Most homeschool moms are more than happy to answer your questions and to help you. We're passionate about homeschooling. We want people to homeschool their kids, so we're more than happy to answer questions. And then the final thing I'm going to talk about today is just facing your fears. We all have them. Like, we all do. I remember, I was homeschooled and I knew what homeschooling was all about, and I still had fears when we started. And it's okay. Face them head on. They can't be so scary if you know what they are, if you say them out loud and you address them. Just talk about them, talk to other homeschool moms about them, because I guarantee you, you are not the only person who has faced that fear before. It's natural, it's healthy, it makes you prepare and do your research. So don't feel bad because you're scared about it. Just talk about it with other people and find out. You're just never going to know until you start. That's the other thing. Like the things I was frightened about, I didn't need to be frightened about because it's been fine. So just face them head on and know that everybody has them. Like you're definitely not alone. And I would also maybe just add the point that a lot of people look at homeschool moms and think that they must be saints. We're not saints. We're not. We lose our temper. We snap at our kids. We're just not saints. And there are times where we don't want to be around our kids. You don't have to be a perfect mother to be a homeschooling mom, because I guarantee you there's not a single perfect mother out there. So realize that you're going to have faults, you're going to have failures, and that's okay. You're going to work through them, and that is going to be a great example to your children of how to work through hard things, of how to build their character and do the right thing. You have got this, mama. You are going to do a great job, and your kids are going to benefit from it greatly. I hope that this video was helpful. I hope you found these tips helpful. I've got loads more homeschool videos, so go and check out the rest of them on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will